What is going on, my beautiful people? I hope you guys are doing amazing today. In this video, what we are going to talk about is knowing that you have everything that you need. What I'm talking about is knowing that God has placed perfectly in you everything that you need for the journey that you are going on. You have these stepping blocks, you have these things that you're doing, and knowing that God has already put in you what you need to fulfill what you're doing is a powerful way to go about life, because it changes the way that you start walking. It changes how confident you feel, and it actually turns into true belief that is actually going to motivate, but then also allow you to do what you're doing differently. It's like a rapper that goes on to the scene and has this unwavering belief. But this isn't just like delusional belief that they talk about. This is real belief in knowing that God has already placed in you what you need. Because if you don't have that, all of a sudden you're losing that belief, you're losing that faith, and all of a sudden you start wondering and thinking like, okay, I don't have this, I don't have this, these people have this. You start comparing, and it's like, am I going to be able to do what I need to do? But I want us to believe and truly have it in our heart that God has already equipped us with what we need, and it doesn't matter how much that we currently have. Now this is something that I fall into sometimes, because like, do I have what I need to be able to make these videos? I'm not the most talkative person in the world. I haven't been the most extroverted person in the past. I've been a little bit shy. And it's like, do I have what I need to do this? But knowing that God has already done so many things with so little things, just bringing what you have right now to Him is such a powerful thing. In the scripture, we all know the story about, or some of us may know the story about Jesus feeding the 5,000. When He feeds the 5,000, all that they have is a couple of loaves of bread and some fish. And they go, and Jesus tells them that we're going to feed all these people with just these loaves of fish and just these loaves of bread and just these little amounts of fish. That's all they had. It was just one boy in the crowd out of 5,000 people that ended up having that. And He tells them that we're going to feed people, all these people, with that. Of course, the disciples are confused. They don't know how it's going to work out. Nobody knows how this little amount is going to work out. But Jesus turns that into enough food and then more for these 5,000 people. That little amount was able to be used so much because it was touched by the favor of God and Jesus. It's such an amazing thing. So when you're bringing your things into Jesus, maybe you don't have the most talent, skill, whatever you want to call it. Maybe you don't think that you're equipped enough to do what you want to do. But knowing that if God has placed in your heart that you are going to do this, He also has placed into your body, mind, soul, what you need to be able to fulfill that. You know, the things, the people in your life, the skills inside, the ability to, the way that your mind works is all ready for what you're going to do. Now this is something beautiful, because, you know, for myself, it's like, okay, I think God reveals it to you slowly but surely. You might be doubting like, okay, for myself, it would be like, okay, I'm a little bit on the quieter side, or I might not be the most talkative. How am I going to get up here and do these videos? I sometimes get shy, or I get anxious, or I get nervous when I go out. How am I going to be a public speaker? And it's something where you're continuing to walk and you continue to feel that, and you can have that little bit of doubt. But then I would hear about Joel Osteen, who is a pastor, and he is a very amazing pastor. He has this big church down in Houston. And I was listening to him speak, you know, seeing him up there speaking, talking is so amazing. But one of the things he said is that he's actually on the quieter side also. He's not the most talkative person. And, you know, and first he wondered if that was going to hold back his preaching, if he was going to be able to do this constantly, and he would be very anxious when he was first doing his sermons and stuff like that. But he managed to continue to say what God had said about him, knowing that it doesn't matter how he is, knowing that he's going to continue to use what he has and bring it to God, and God's going to use it to the fullest. But it's beautiful, because you wonder like like that stuff that he may not have been, actually, I think goes into what he actually is. What I mean by this is that he is a lot of the times when you're not as talkative, you might be more emotionally able to connect to stuff. And when you're more emotionally able to connect to stuff, you can give that in your speaking. And he does that so well, versus somebody that kind of is like very hard and just going out there and yelling at you. But he uses so he gets you amped up, and he gets you filled with that hope, filled with that joy, filled with that love. And I think it's very beautiful. And I myself too, I feel like sometimes I don't understand, like I might not be the most talkative, but I'm a very, very good listener. That I can also notice that a lot of people in my life, they are not able to do that. They just are going to talk and they don't care what you have to say. But it's like, sometimes I think like, what am I going to do with this? And you might be thinking the same thing with what you have right now. with who you are, your personality, and you're like, what am I going to do with this? But I've realized as I've started to go on my path, trusting that God is going to reveal how he is going to use my exact personality, it's like, I realize that that ability to listen helps me connect with these videos, because it's like, okay, I see what people are really actually dealing with. The ability to be more on the emotional side and connecting with stuff allows me to give it to you guys the best I can in storytelling, and I'm getting better at it. I'm still tapping into the gifts that God has put in me. But it's just such a beautiful thing when you realize, oh, these things that I thought were weaknesses actually made me who I am. And I'm actually able to work on those weaknesses too. And God is willing. If God is willing, he's going to use you, and he's going to continue to refine you. He's going to continue to get the best out of yourself and the best out of everything that he's put in you. It's just like realizing all of our personality is used for God's glory. I really hope you're able to take that into today and just know that you have what you need in whatever you're doing. Love you guys very much. I will talk to you on the next video. Peace. Let me show y'all my cat real quick. She's over there chilling. Later.